Hello and welcome everybody to this Azure Synapse Espresso. I'm joined here today by Estera, which means we're going to talk about Apache Spark. Today, we're going to talk about a very hot topic that I have with a lot of my customers, and a lot of my customers are asking, like, I've got notebooks, I've got Apache Job Spark definitions. When do I use what, and what do I need to choose, and how do I use this, how do I use notebooks, how do I use this job definitions? And Estera's here today to explain us all of that. Estera, go ahead.
Yeah, let's start with explaining notebooks and showing you the demo of notebooks. And then let's go to explaining jobs, doing the demo on jobs. At the end, let's summarize it. And I hope that will give you the answer when you should use which approach of creating your experiments on top of the data in Apache Spark. Let's start with Synapse Studio Notebooks. So Notebook is a web interface that will allow you to create code cells and code live inside the notebook, do visualization, write code in different languages, write text in Markdown that will explain your code or scenario. So notebooks are a great place to validate your ideas, run quick experiments, get immediate insights. Prototype, we can also name it. You can analyze data across various file formats from SQL, from Parquets, from CSV, JSONs. And now let's see the demo. So first of all, we have to open Synapse Studio and navigate to the Develop tab. Then we click plus, add new notebook. The next step is to provide a name. Here I'm putting a first notebook as the name of my notebook. And the next step is to select Spark Compute Cluster, which will run our notebook. In my case, the name of the cluster is my first Spark, and I did a demo how to create this cluster in the previous episode. So here we are providing a first code snippet in Python. We are like printing hello world, and we have the default language chosen for our notebook. In this case, and in general, the default language is PySpark. But yes, we can change it to Scala, Spark SQL, Spark R. And what is happening right now, once we provide a code snippet and we click run, either run or pressing Shift Enter, then our cluster is going to run this specific code. So what is happening right now, Synapse creates Spark session for us, and it takes up to about 3 minutes. And it's important to share that the cost, waiting 3 minutes, happens only if we create the Spark session for the first time. So while waiting for results, I would like to give one more comment about different languages. As you could see, we can switch to different languages, but C# was blocked. So here one comment. So C#, so .NET for Apache Spark is supported in the runtime 2.4, 3.1, and 3.2. And because I'm using 3.3, the switching to .NET to C# is blocked for us. So you can see our session was created. It took about 3 minutes, and we can see results below the code cell. Now let's write one more code line to show that once we have a session, executing other cells is happening immediately. So now let's do some more visualizations to the notebook. Here, for example, I am importing matplotlib library because I want to create a bar chart using this specific library. So first of all, import, then creating the first object with data x, and then creating the second object with some result for this specific values. At the end, we are plotting bar, putting our data, and generating the visualization. As you can see, it happened immediately. and the chart is always appearing in the cell below the code. Moreover, we can switch languages, and a lot of customers are asking how to switch the language if the default for the notebook is Python, for example, and we sometimes have to do something in R or Spark. So here, the only thing that you have to do is to type $Spark to use pure Spark in Scala. And here I'm printing hello world in Scala within the same notebook that was defined as a Python notebook. And as you can see, even with switching the language, once we have the Spark session, we are getting results immediately. So now let's do some more sophisticated example rather than printing hello Scala, hello world. So here I'm again $Spark. I'm creating two objects. One is with some results, and the second is with the name of the column. So I'm going to provide name and age, and provide the data for those two columns. Then I'm going to write the Spark create data frame using our data, and providing passing the value for columns just to assign what is the column and what are the column names. At the end, we can use the show method on top of our data frame to get the results immediately.
Okay, great. So now we've talked about notebooks, but what about the job definitions?
Yeah, so Apache Spark Job Definitions, that is the full name of this feature, is a Synapse way to run Spark jobs automatically and on scale. And let's jump to the demo to show you the specific.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Okay, we are starting from the same screen. So the develop tab, we are adding, instead of notebook, we are adding Apache Spark jobs. So first of all, we had to fill the details like name, and then the same, we provided the Apache Spark pool. And as you can see on the screen, we have to provide the job file. So provide a file that will define what this specific job will do. And I'm going to code this specific job with you from the beginning. So I open my Sublime editor. I'm creating job code, starting with some imports, like from PySpark SQL, I'm importing Spark session. So here I'm creating the Spark session. It means I'm writing Spark session dot builder dot app name. Here I'm providing the name of our job / application. Then we can pass some configurations in a form of key value. In my case, I don't need it, but I'm just showing us many times we pass some configurations. So at the end, I'm using the method get or create to start the Spark session. Then once I have Spark session, I can start processing my data. So here I'm writing similar results, like example that we did for Scala in the notebook. So I'm creating the object name data, and I have three tuples. For each, I'm providing the name of and the age. Then again, I'm providing the name, the object for columns. So providing the name and age. At the end, I create the data frame with using both and showing the results. I'm saving that on my local disk like sample.py, and then I'm going to we have two methods. Either we'll upload this file manually, or we will inside the job, or we will upload this file to our storage to reuse it in the future. I'm taking the second path. So I upload it into the storage. I copy the path to this file. I put the path as a main definition file, and I can, of course, specify more parameters, but that's all what is required. I click publish, and just to save my job, and I click submit to start my first Apache Spark job. Then we can go to the tab Monitor and Apache Spark Applications to see that the job finished, and I could, in the logs, I could see some results. And of course, we can dig into what was happening into the jobs, and that is going to be our last episode to investigate the Spark UI. And I know that our job was very simple because it just printed the simple column, but in the same place as we created data, columns, objects, we created our first data frame. We can reference to different data across different types, different locations. We can process them. So Spark Job Definition is a automatic way to create jobs which you can reuse. You can automate in terms of defining when we will run it. You can provide more arguments, more configurations. You can schedule them not only by time, but you can also create the trigger that job will run when some event will happen. For example, we got more data on our blob, and then we can start the Spark job definition. So to summarize it, and there are a lot of factors that we should consider when to use notebooks, when to use Spark job definitions. But the thumb rule is that notebooks are quick, notebooks are easy to use, and require zero setup. They are perfect for data exploration, machine learning workloads, allowing engineers and scientists to do interactive development. And on the other hand, we have Spark job definitions, which require more expertise, but this is the way that will allow you to manage and run Spark jobs at scale. Both options have pros and cons, and please go to the link provided on the notes to check this table and review each criteria one by one.
Yeah, awesome. So that basically shows us like a notebook and Apache Job Spark Definition. You saw that very big differences between the two. But like Estera, I just want to ask you, like, give us 3 rules of thumb. When do you choose what?
Yeah, so notebooks, every time I have to do quick exploration of data. Every time then I'm creating a notebook. When I have to when I firstly analyze the data for the very first time, so development, always using notebooks as I don't know results, I want to see them cell by cell. When I want to do visualizations and everything what leads to preparing data to be ready for machine learning, it's also notebooks. But when I am sure that, okay, I defined a notebook and every day I'm going to run this notebook, it means that, okay, I can transform it to in a form of jobs, because why have to run a notebook every day? I can schedule that in a form of jobs. Yeah. So when we know what we want to do exactly, and we know when we want to do that or by what kind of event, then jobs. When we have streaming scenario as well, we want to have something what will run all the time, and that is the Spark job definition. And also when we are doing data processing and we may require like a lot of scaling capabilities, then as well Apache Spark job definitions is the right way. But I encourage you to check the table provided on Tech Community blog that is digging into the details of every criteria, and that will help you to choose the best approach for your scenario.
And you'll find that link in the description just in the bottom here. On that bombshell, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, just give us a thumbs up. If you have any further questions on this, because this was a hefty topic, if you have any questions, just write them in the comments so me and Estera will definitely get back to you. And if you'd like to see more of these videos of Spark or even serverless SQL tools or anything else, we've got loads of stuff on the channel. Just hit that subscribe button and you'll see loads of this lovely content. As always, from the Synapse Espresso team, this is Stijn, and
Estera.
thank you very much for watching. Bye.